The Thunderbolts are coming this year, and the big bad they'll be facing is going to be the Sentry. But who is that? The Sentry is ridiculous. He's like Superman, but with an evil alter ego that's always making him do bad things. Bad things that are amplified by the power of a million exploding suns. So yeah, that ghost character will do a great job, I'm sure. But how did he get this way? It's not the usual lovey-dovey hero story, I'm afraid. Bob Reynolds was a meth addict who broke into a lab looking to score and took some golden Sentry serum that was supposed to be even better than the super soldier serum from Captain America. He got super powerful thanks to his molecules shifting about. He could fly at super speed, superhuman strength, genius intellect, and made him more handsome. So obviously ended up being a proper superhero. He was mates with the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man. But why didn't we know about any of this? Look at the old comics, he's not in them. That's because the Void turned up. A monster that preyed on people's fears and was as powerful as the Sentry. When Bob realised that the Void was a dark part of his own psyche, he got Doctor Strange and Reed Richards to make everyone forget about him. That's why we never heard of him before 2000. How meta! Years later, his memories returned and the power of the Sentry was back, but along with the Void. The Sentry's done some nuts stuff to showcase his power over the years. He once flew Carnage through 9 stories and into space and ripped it in half. He rocked up to the end of the World War Hulk story and punched the Hulk hard enough to turn them both back into normal humans. And one time he merged with the most ridiculous character, the Silver Surfer. But my favourite run of the Sentry is the Dark Reign storyline, which may be where the Thunderbolts leads us. After the secret invasion by the Skrulls, Norman Osborn, who in this series is basically Tommy Lee Jones with ridiculous hair, and his shield rival Hammer are in charge because Norman himself brought down the Queen Skrull leading the invasion. One of his first orders of business was setting up the Dark Avengers, basically evil versions of the regular Avengers, but also with Ares and the Sentry involved, the latter's power dwarfing the others, but his evil persona the Void always lurking around. The Dark Avengers team is not going to work. They're a bunch of psychos who are going to tear each other apart, which is a fun prospect. Early on in the run, Dr. Doom, great video on him here by the way, is under attack in Latveria by Morgana Le Fay. They're going toe to toe with some magic blasts and crazy incantations until she unleashes a Bavalumi, and that takes him out. The distress call from Latveria interrupts the Dark Avengers squabbling and they go on their first mission to save Dr. Doom. On arrival, Morgana gets a big monster to eat their plane, so Norman sets the Sentry on her in his first display of his power. He just zooms in and rips her goddamn head off. It doesn't last long though, as while the team talk about Dr. Doom being laid out unconscious, Morgana pops back from another time and vaporises the Sentry, before laying a spell on Venom to make him eat Ares. She's pretty good. Then we see Norman visiting Bob Reynolds, aka the Sentry, a few days earlier, explaining that he used to hear voices as well, like Bob hears the Void in his head. We cut to Morgana Le Fay in 690 AD and she's looking up how to kill Doom and the Dark Avengers. There's a battle and Osborn accesses Doom's armour to get access to a time cube, which helps Doom and him go back to 690 AD and confront Morgana. She's in trouble. Because Doom can't kill her, he sends her back to 1 million BC where somehow there's a giant dinosaur eating people, even though they died out 64 million years earlier. Maybe it's another universe, benefit of the doubt. So the Dark Avengers head home all banged up. Moonstone flirts with Norvar, and when they get near their base, the Sentry pops up out of nowhere, prompting the question, can he actually be killed? And also, did the serum he take make him extra handsome? Osborn talks to Sentry to check that he's Bob, not Mr. Void. There's a nice little Ghostbusters reference from Venom there. And so Norman has been coaching Sentry, telling him that there is no Void, until it comes time for him to destroy some Atlantean terrorists, so he directly asks the Void to kill them all but one. So he does. And the one that's left is a snack for Venom. Yeesh! There's a bit of action with the X-Men. Sentry beats down Namor after he calls him a gibbering schizoid, which is harsh. And Emma Frost gets in Bob's head to try and help him with the Void. But she gets some Void in her, and it doesn't help as the Void then chases Sentry away. Then his missus shoots him in the face. But the next issue, he's back and fine and investigating a tiny town called Dinosaur, Colorado, where a powerful man's daughter has gone missing with a load of others. While he's there, a cowboy appears, and Bob just explodes again. The Dark Avengers go to see what happened, but they all disappear. It turns out it's Owen Reese, the Molecule Man. He literally controls everything around himself, and he's surrounded by some big dog super baddies. The Beyonder, Mephisto, Enchantress. But it's all fake, and Osborn is very naked. So he starts messing with Norman's head, and I love how the art changes in these little made-up bits. Then Owen comes across Bob. He says his molecules taste weird because the Sentry is just such a monster. And he's exploded again. We then see how powerful Molecule Man really is, taking down all of the Dark Avengers with absolute ease. Norman's assistant Victoria Hand starts trying to calm Owen down, when out of nowhere Sentry reappears again. There's a brief battle where Owen rips Sentry apart again. God, this is getting repetitive. But it doesn't work. Sentry comes back and forces Molecule Man to repair everything before destroying him the same way. It turns out the Sentry can control molecules just like Owen Reese. This boy just learnt how to control his powers a bit more, and he's even more powerful. Next issue, we find out that Sentry survived that gunshot to the face because of the Void. We also learn that Bob Reynolds was an addict who stole this serum that made him the Sentry and begged for more. Osborn knows all this and loves it. It's his secret weapon. The Void is an evil Superman he can call on when he needs him to do things like murder some Atlanteans. Lindy hates him because she's seen the Void side of him and realises that he doesn't deserve the power, hence the shot to the face. So Voidy tries to kill her, but the Sentry resists and flies into the sun to stop him. But all that does is just make the Void take over, and the Void comes back bringing some biblical threat to New York. Literally, he pulled this shit back in the Bible times. Luckily, Osborn is very good at mind games and he calms Robert down again. The black tendrils disappear, but he's still very voidy. Now the Void doesn't like Lindy, but he can't kill her because of Bob, so Norman asks the Dark Hawkeye, aka Bullseye, to do it. Mike Diodato here really appreciating the musculature of the bodies in this run. Norman calls the Cabal together, basically an evil Illuminati, and when Doom says he'll kill Norman, he sets the Void on him, who's now basically his personal, all-powerful attack dog. The Void blasts Doom, knocking him back with ease. Turns out it was a Doombot, which results in Doombot Locust attacking the base that Sentry takes care of with ease. But this means that Bullseye can commandeer a helicopter with Lindy in it. He then acts like a real dick, telling her that she's punching above her weight with Bob, and then he strangles her and dumps the body in the ocean. Poor old Lindy, she has had it rough. Once he's back, Bob goes full Void when he thinks Bullseye's done something to her, but does eventually believe his lies about her doing it herself. Bob flies off, and we enter Siege territory. So all this time with Norman in charge, Loki's been manipulating him to take down ASGARD, which is now floating above a town in Oklahoma. The president won't play ball, so they engineer it so that Volstagg from ASGARD blows up a stadium and kills a load of people, just like how the superhero Civil War started. So now Norman's got a reason to attack ASGARD for Loki. First thing he needs to do is get Sentry to zoom around and take out Heimdall's observatory, and the rest all land and start attacking. All of this then prompts Thor to join him and defend ASGARD, resulting in him smacking the Sentry away, but then getting taken out by Osborn and some big hitters in front of the TV cameras. Ares fights Boulder and won't believe that he's on the wrong team, but when the big man Heimdall turns up and talks sense, Ares knows that Heimdall is the real deal, and he realises that Osborn's led him on, and so goes to attack his former boss. So Osborn gets his attack dog involved, and Sentry doesn't ask questions, just absolutely clotheslines Ares, which leads to an epic matchup between the heaviest hitters in his team. We finally get to see them squaring off against each other. Even though Sentry is clearly the strongest, Ares is no slouch, and he managed to get his mega axe jammed in the side of Sentry, revealing some voidy tentacles, before Sentry smashes him into a building. Ares then goes for a sneak attack but gets an elbow to the nose, and Sentry then grabs him, and for one of the most shocking Marvel moments of the time, he just rips Ares, the God of War, in half. Everyone on the battlefield, good and bad, cannot believe their fucking eyes. Meanwhile, the good Avengers are reforming and they're en route. Thor fries Daken to a crisp, and Norman tells Bob to destroy the city. But someone's arrived. It's the Avengers, as well as Nick Fury and his Secret Warriors. So Sentry comes up against Thor again. He's definitely in Void mode now, with the dark speech bubbles asking how many gods he'll kill. And Thor tries a big Mjolnir hit, but it doesn't do anything. The Void's too powerful. He doesn't even get knocked down. Odin's eye indeed. But that doesn't stop Thor trying the same thing again, giving a load of Asgardian smack talk. And after this hit, Sentry starts growing those Void arms again, and they're red-tinged. That cannot be good. Iron Man then returns in his old wanky suit, and he shuts down Osborn, who in his desperation tells Sentry to take it all down. And so he does, and in another huge panel, Asgard is completely destroyed. Thor can't believe it, and Osborn gets unmasked, and everyone sees that he's being all Green Goblin-y again. There's a couple of nice comedic moments from the X-Men and Fantastic Four watching, not helping mind, just watching on TV. So Spider-Man clocks him, and then we think Osborn is babbling a bit now as he says they're all dead, because he was the only one who could control whatever the Sentry has become, and he's become something bigger and badder than what we've seen before. Oh dear. This makes Loki realise the error of his ways, and he summons the Norn Stones to power up our heroes. It gives them a bit of an advantage against the Void for a little bit, but he realises it's all mischief, and so he goes after Loki, and unbelievably, the Void destroys him. 2 gods down. This depowers the hero, so Tony Stark goes back to basics, takes something massive like a shield helicarrier and smash it into the Void. Cue another huge explosion, and Bob's there in his human form. He wants to be killed, but the heroes refuse. Obviously, they're heroes. So the Void rears up again. What will Thor's strategy be this time? Hit it again, but harder. And somehow the Void/Sentry/Bob Reynolds is done for. He's just bones now. So while the Sentry's watchtower fades away, Thor wraps him in a cloak and flies the body up to the sun where it burns up. Is this the end of the Sentry? It's the comics, of course not. But the Siege run and the Dark Reign run ends with Norman in prison and the Avengers are reformed. Oh look, Wolverine was there for the final panel pose, the cheeky little bugger. I hope you enjoyed this recap of the Sentry's time under Norman Osborn's influence. Check out our other videos, smash the like button, smash subscribe. I've been Danny Baker, this is 6 Degrees, and I'll see you later.